Welcome to Talkie Talk, a movie show. This is the show where we learn about movies by chatting with people who work in the industry. I'm Susan.
And I'm Ben. Today we're going to be discussing the film Little Miss Sunshine.
And joining us today is our special guest, Andy Erikson. So welcome, Andy.
Hey, Andy.
Hi, you guys. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
So can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
I am a stand-up comedian and actress. I lived in LA for a while and the pandemic hit, so now I'm back in Minnesota, but I tour for a living. I make my living as a stand-up comedian. And I was on Last Comic Standing, which was super fun, and then Scream Queens on Fox, a television show.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
What season of Last Comic Standing were you on?
Season 9, the very last season they did, which they bring it back and it goes away, but yeah,
Okay.
It's on the last season.
Very cool.
That's awesome. So stand-up comedian, how did you find yourself with this career?
Honestly, I'm as surprised as you are. I had no intention of ever being a performer or in front of everybody. I wanted to be a writer and try to write for SNL. And I heard that if you want to write for SNL, you got to have a persona, be good at writing and comedy and things. So I did stand up. That was the route I was going to take. The first time I did stand up, I loved it so much. I had so much fun that I just became addicted and was just doing 10, 11 shows a week for multiple years and just dove right in and just loved it. It was just
awesome.
really fun.
Very cool.
That is very cool. So how did you get your start then?
I went to a club in my hometown, Acme Comedy Club, and I signed my name and I got to go up and I had a ton of fun. And it was so fun that as I finished my set, I ran off the stage and my shoe fell off and I just kept running. I was like, I don't need shoes anymore. I'm a comedian.
That's awesome. So you did your first set, and then what was your path to sort of no, this is my career now?
So my goal was to do Acme's Funniest Person contest, and it's only for amateurs. So I had started right in August, and the contest is in August. So I took that year to prepare, and I didn't take any paid gigs and was just doing tons of shows and mics and stuff. And then I got second place in that contest.
Awesome.
And after getting second place, then they offered me a job as an MC at the club a few months later. And I started working at that club, worked my way up from MC to feature to headliner. And then while I was MCing there and featuring there, I was doing other clubs and going on road gigs and just doing whatever I could to make money. You don't make money doing comedy for a long time. You just kind of get by and travel and just try to get better and build an audience. And stuff like that. Yeah.
Awesome. So do you have any moments in stand-up that really stand out as either your favorite moment or a moment where you're I can't believe this is happening, or I can't believe I'm performing with this other stand-up comedian, anything like that? I'm sure
that's what's great about stand-up is it is filled with so many moments of is this my life? What happened? You'll be on random road trips and my first ever college gig, I did the gig and afterwards they forgot to book us a hotel. They booked it for the wrong day. No. So it's well, we're just sorry you don't get a hotel. And so I was we had no money because we spent all our money just to get there on gas and stuff. So I drove to Pennsylvania and ended up just sleeping in my car with another comic at a rest stop. And it was freezing. It was the middle of winter. It was February. And I was just I had this fun gig, I made $1,500. And I was but we didn't get the money for months later. Right. I ended up, overdrafting.
Just God.
Yeah. So it's I made it. And it's I'm sleeping in my car.
Oh my God.
I can't believe they didn't get you a hotel.
No. And looking back now, I do colleges regularly. That's how I make most of my money.
Yeah.
And I don't know why we didn't stand up for ourselves and say, you have to put us up somewhere. This is your job. And they just, nope, sorry. And then we're just okay.
That is wild.
So that was kind of a low point, but still fun. I was whatever. I was
sure.
23, maybe even 21. But then after I did Last Comic Standing, since I got into the top 5, I got to go on tour. So I got to go on a tour bus and it was 3 months long. We did 90 shows in 80 days.
Wow.
I got to go to Hawaii and perform on like 3 different islands, like Washington, New York, Boston, Texas. And they were in these big theaters. So I'd walk out and just have this huge theater of people who were there to see me and all of us, you know. So it was just
Right.
so surreal. I remember being like, this is like a once in a lifetime thing. And it's like, maybe one day I'll be doing theaters again, but that's so rare.
Mhm.
But I just felt so lucky and I embraced it. And I just loved just such a weird, fun opportunity to like
so cool.
live out of us and do what you love. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool. So how did you transition from being a stand-up comedian to being an actress?
So the transition was swift. I had no intention of being an actress. I just don't. It's just I had so many fears about it. Like I didn't want to just like with stand up. I had so much time to prepare and get ready, but I hadn't taken any acting classes. I'd taken some commercial acting classes, so there is that. So I had some experience auditioning, but so it was actually Ryan Murphy's casting director and writer wrote a part for someone who had Marfan syndrome in one of his shows, Scream Queen. So they were looking for someone specifically who had Marfan syndrome.
Okay.
And they actually found me on Twitter, like 'cause they were searching and they saw my tweets where I was talking about having Marfan's, which I used to keep private. But after being on Last Comic Standing, I was more open about it. So they found me on Twitter.
Wow.
And then this casting director reached out to my manager, who then sent it to me, and I went on the audition. It was my first ever audition. Never. I had never done anything like that before. So like I walk in and I'm just thinking like, okay, where are the other people? I'm like, have you had a lot of tall people in here today? Because the role was for someone who was really tall. They're like, nope, you're the only one today. And I'm like, what? so I went into the room and they were like taping me, and I like did the lines. I'd been practicing like all day and like, so many times. I was so nervous, but I did the lines and they were coaching me through it and they were laughing and there was like there was such a good energy, but it was great because like they wanted me to get the part. Like you seem so like auditions seem scary, but it's like, no, they really want you to do good.
Yeah.
They coached me and made sure I had like a great audition, and it was just so fun. And then after I did the audition, I was like, well, I didn't get that. So I went camping, literally went up like to, I had no cell phone reception, but I was like, of course I'm not going to get it. And I actually had like a tour I was going to do in comedies, but I was literally camping. I was like, you know what, let's just go check my messages. So we drove away from the campsite. It took a while. Had like 5 missed calls, a bunch of missed emails. And they're just like, hey, do you want the part? Let us know. Do you want the part? And I was like, oh my God. And like, I ran into a bar and I told everyone like on the mountain, I was like, I just got cast in a TV show. And they're like, yeah, we're celebrating. Had a drink. Then we had to like go to sleep. And then I had to return like from the campsite the next day to do like a fitting to like, they specifically made a dress for me, like made it from scratch for my character. And then I just was casting the show, and I was kind of on set then for a few weeks over the next few months. But I was like, why would I get the part?
That's amazing.
I know. It's weird to be like to actors like, but it's so easy. You just go in and then you get the part.
Yeah, you show up and they want to cast you.
Yeah.
We've talked to a couple different actors on this show, and that's not been their experience.
I know. I feel so bad. I did do the smart thing though, which was building a persona and a personality through stand-up. So it's another way. There's tons of different ways to do it, but I just fell into it where it was like I had built up a name. Which takes a different sort of work. Like instead of auditions, I'm like in bars at night all the time. Like,
yeah, I mean that's a different. It's still a really a ton of work.
It is. It's so much work, and it's just like you don't really get money back.
Yeah,
you're not really doing it for the money. You have to have a regular job, and you still hustle.
Yeah, and
it's such a weird. But I was so lost. I was Googling like, what's a guest star? And I felt like that was like a really important one that's really hard to get. So there's like, what's the one before it? Like a, you guys know the terms? Like
a feature or something?
Co-star,
yeah.
It's co-star, which I was like, okay, good. I'm not a co-star. I'm just a guest star. I'm like, oh, guest star is actually you get paid more. But I was thinking like, what do I do? And I remember I got on set and I even got like my own trailer. Well, like a third of the trailer.
Nice.
My own little trailer, and I had a fridge and I had like bathroom.
Nice.
And then they, my first take, well, first you go on set and then you do like a run through with just all the actors and they block it. So they tell you where to stand, they get the lights. It's just a total rehearsal. And then you go and they say action and they're filming it. But like, I thought we were still rehearsing. So like my first few takes, I just didn't understand. So I'm just kind of doing it. And I get done. All right. So when does we start filming? They're like, you know how that camera was just pointed to you? It was on. I was like, what? And the other actresses are just laughing at me. Like Billy Lord was like, what is up with this girl? It was surreal, and the director was super nice, and like I read that like if they don't say anything after your lines, then that's good if they give you feedback, but like if they don't say great job, it doesesn't mean you were horrible.
They're just like getting on with the shoot.
They're just doing their job. It's like you should know how to do this.
You shouldn't need to be told you're doing good because no, that's cool though. What a cool first experience for it. You got the full experience. Like on set, you got the trailer, that's really awesome.
It was nuts, and it was just cool because everyone was so nice, and it was just like, I get why people want to be actors. Like if anyone wants to be an actor, it's worth it because it was so fun. You get time to chill, and there's food, and you're basically most of the time you're just hanging out. And you get called to do your lines. But then I also got to see the stressful side in it because there were days when like the actors were going through things in their life, or they were just having a hard day, and they had all these lines and they couldn't do it, and so there was a lot of just emotions and stress, and it's a hard job. I really appreciate actors so much more now because it's a hard job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
So what is your process for writing jokes?
So I have a few different ways. When I first started, though, I did a lot of one-liners, and I would sit down with a notebook while watching a trivia show, like Jeopardy or Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and I would write questions or jokes based on the questions and things that I was inspired by.
Interesting.
So I would basically do like a free write, and I would have like 5 or 6 just straight pages, hand notebook, and then later I would go back and I would turn them into bits, and I would post them in a blog and get feedback that way. And then I started tweeting them, and I get feedback that way. So I was able to get feedback even before going on stage. So I treated it like a job, like sit down.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, using Twitter as sort of a joke testing. That's interesting.
How
have you gone about booking your gigs in the past? And then maybe you can tell us how that's different now with everything being virtual.
Yeah. So when it started off, it mostly is about building relationships. So you have a headliner take you to a club, you'll feature for them or even MC, and you build a relationship with them. They see that you're good. Sometimes you do a guest set and not get paid anything. Other times, you'll get paid, and you have a showcase set that you send out just to even get in the door. Okay. And, I also would do like festivals and things like that, and then get noticed at the festivals and just building relationships. And then once you have a relationship with a club, they have their own processes where some want you to email them like every 2 weeks on a Monday. That's when they want their emails. I think that's how they do it at Zanies in Chicago. Okay. I don't know. I haven't messaged them in a while, but it's another part of the job is reaching out to clubs, keeping contacts, and, asking for work. You're constantly trying to get work because they book the people who are on their mind. So it is, you kind of have to be annoying, but like not too annoying.
Right. You got to find the balance.
That's interesting. That's how that worked.
So that's another whole kind of, it's almost like, sounds like a separate job. Like you have to, write your material and your personality. And then you also have to be kind of your own scheduler and booker. And
and I will say though, I do have a college booking agent because they have all these relationships with the colleges, and that's so great because Chuck Johnson at Summit, he's awesome. We do NACAs too. So you go to these big conferences, you perform like a 5 to 10 minute set, and then colleges will like choose you based on that set.
Oh, cool. It's like they draft you.
Yes, it totally is. It's so fun. And it's like, the NACAs are so fun. I love college kids. They're so fun and smart and just silly and weird, and it's just cool to be sometimes like the first comedian they ever see at a live show. It's cool. I want to be that.
Yeah, I feel like college was the first time I really went and saw stand-up. Like in high school I knew it existed, but I didn't really pay attention. But then in high school, or in college, they would come to campus and it was usually free or like really cheap.
Totally.
Like
super free.
Yeah, it was really fun. I saw Mike Birbiglia.
Dude,
it was really awesome. Who else? Steve Hofstetter. That's
okay. Yeah. I work with him.
Yeah, we had a couple come every year. It was really cool. It was really fun.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm a big comedy fan, and I went to Indiana University in Bloomington, and the biggest, I mean, they have acts come through all the time there, but I got to go see Gallagher on stage.
That is so funny.
It was awesome. He actually invited anybody up who wanted to smash something, because that's his deal. He's the guy who smashes watermelons, right?
Oh, I know Gallagher.
I mean, I know you know Gallagher. I'm letting our listeners know who.
No, you're right.
But so that's his shtick, and so he just had a bunch of stuff and just gave you the little sludge-o-matic hammer and let you smash something on stage, which was really, really cool.
What did you smash?
I smashed a plate of cactus.
What?
It was just a bunch of random stuff, and that's what I got to smash. So that was pretty neat.
You also got to see our hometown hero, Jim Gaffigan.
I've seen, yeah. So Jim Gaffigan grew up in Chesterton, Indiana,
which is just north of us,
right? Yeah. So, and I've actually seen him do stand up many times now. He's very good.
Yeah.
There's so many good comedians that a lot of people just don't know about.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't even realize that comedy is like an option for something to do, because they're just so used to like movies or like going out to dinner. But it's like, yeah, it's good to encourage people like comedy. It's like,
yeah,
live comedy is awesome.
Yeah, it's really fun.
So what advice do you have for people who either want to get into their stand-up or acting?
I mean, it is about enjoying the process. So like if you need to go out and try it for sure. I mean, comedy, it is a ton of work, but if you start and it takes a little while to build up like a group of friends, because everyone is so standoffish because there's so many people who come and go. Mm-hmm. But if you go to the shows and keep on going, you'll build relationships. And if you're having fun going to open mics, then you're going to enjoy doing it and you're going to get better. Because it's just what's great with comedy is you get instant feedback. You try a joke and you get feedback. So you can improve really fast. So for stand-up, it's like, go have fun, like bring your friends with, like, or go by yourself if that's more fun, but just make sure you're just having a fun time, like watching shows and enjoying it. And it's stand-up, it's like, with acting, you guys might agree, like, yeah, take some improv classes, make some friends, like do your own sketches, start going out on auditions. And if anyone wants, like, commercial acting is a great way to get an agent, because it's a lot easier to get a commercial agent. But if you want to start going on auditions, I recommend getting a commercial agent. But first, just build up experience and stuff like that.
Yeah, and relationships and everything.
Relationships.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like with both things, you kind of just have to do it. Like,
yes, it's so true.
Plan it out, right? You just have to go do it. And like, I've done 2 open mics in my whole life, and they were terrifying, but they were really fun. But I was like, I'm either going to do it or I'm not. But like, I just have to get up on the stage. Like, that's what you got to do. And then the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. Yeah.
It's a lifelong thing for both. Like, it's not going to be overnight success. So just try to find a way to enjoy it. Like, write with your friends, do sketches with your friends, And then, don't worry about what your family thinks, because
yes,
key point.
Yes.
All right. Well, is there anything else you want to tell us about your career, or any other stories you think would be really good to highlight, or that you just think are really fun and want to tell us before we move on to talking about the movie?
Gosh, yeah. I have a set online if people want to look it up on my website, where I did a stand-up set, and then I proposed to my husband at the end of the set, and he didn't know.
Oh my gosh, I need
so that's online, which is great. It's like a 10-minute clip, but I tell people to watch it, and I know if they watch the whole thing, because I
At
proposed
the
to him. So
end.
that was really, really fun. I did that at like my pseudo home club in LA.
Okay.
Got to propose to him, and
That's
we got married a couple
I'll
weeks
give it a
later because he'd already proposed to me, but like I didn't get to propose.
Yeah. Your turn now.
That's really cool.
And then, so your website is andyerikson.com, correct?
Yeah.
Well, and you're on Instagram, right?
Yes.
They can check you out on there. And then are you on Facebook or you're on Twitter?
And I got TikTok too.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yep.
Great. Well, Andy Erikson, thank you for joining us. Now we're going to switch over and chat about our featured film. Today we're discussing the 2006 film Little Miss Sunshine. The movie was directed by Jonathan Dayton and Valerie Ferris, and it was written by Michael Arndt. It stars Toni Collette, Greg Kinnear, Steve Carell, Alan Arkin, Paul Dano, and Abigail Breslin. The film was nominated for 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, and it won 2, Best Original Screenplay for Michael Arndt and Best Supporting Actor for Alan Arkin. Heads up, we are going to be spoiling the movie. But before we get to that, Susan, give us a quick breakdown. What's this movie about?
Yeah, so this movie follows the Hoover family. Right at the beginning, we meet Frank, who's the uncle. He's a former professor. He taught Prost, and he is very depressed. They picked him up from the hospital. He had to commit suicide. So he's now going to be living with them until he's better. So we meet him right at the beginning, and then pretty quickly we meet the rest of the family, including Dwayne, the brother, the grandpa. We meet Richard, the dad, Cheryl, the mom, and we meet Olive, who is the daughter. And she's really sort of the main character of this movie. So right at the beginning, they're eating dinner, and Cheryl, the mom, gets a phone call from her sister saying that Olive has gotten a spot in the Little Miss Sunshine competition in Redondo Beach, California.
Which is a beauty contest for little kids.
Yes, it is a child beauty. So imagine that world. And Olive does not look how you expect a child beauty pageant competitor to look. She's very cute little, I think she's 7 in the movie?
Yes.
8? Yeah,
7.
Just looks like a very normal 7-year-old, but she has a lot of passion for beauty pageants. She's been wanting to be in them. She has been in them. And she also trains with her grandpa. So she has secured a spot in the pageant, but she has to be there by that Sunday. So they have a very short window of time. They can't afford to fly, so this whole family piles into their VW bus and drives to Redondo Beach from Albuquerque. So quite a trip. And then throughout the trip, this family, I think we could all agree they're a little bit dysfunctional, but
a little bit.
Yeah. So a lot of stuff happens on the way that I'm sure we'll get into. But it's a journey. It is a journey to this beauty pageant. But they do end up making it, and you get to see her performance at the end, and it's just amazing. It's so funny. Like, there's some sad stuff that happens in this movie, but there's also just hilarious moments that are like also very heartwarming.
Great. Well, Before we get too far into it, Andy, you chose this film for us to watch. Why did you pick this movie?
This movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. And I watched it with my grandma, who's not with us anymore, but she loved this movie as well. And I think I just can relate to that family dynamic of the dysfunction.
Yeah.
But yet they're still like stronger together, which I really love that. And I love the relationship with like the brother and then the surprise at the end was so good. It was so good that I love it so, and I try to get everyone who hasn't seen it to watch it because it's a unique little indie movie.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And it started off as an indie, and then Fox actually picked it up and then gave it a wider distribution, so a lot more people saw it, and then that's how it started winning all these awards. So you referenced a surprise, Andy. Do you want to spoil what that surprise is?
You go ahead.
Okay. So throughout this movie, they reference the grandpa training Olive on her routine, her dance routine, but no one else has seen it but the two of them. They're always doing it somewhere off camera. So no one in the family has seen it. So we get to the pageant, and the AV guy's like, "Hey, I need your music." So she hands him the CD, and he looks at it. He's like, "Did you pick this?" And she goes, "No, my grandpa did." He's like, all right. And you still don't know what the music is. And then we get to her performance in the pageant, and she is dancing to Super Freak. And the way she dances is like hilarious, but absolutely this pageant does not want these 7-year-old girls dancing how Olive is dancing in this routine, even though I will say she kills it. She does a great job.
Yeah, and
but just the whole audience is shocked. They end up she's like banned from pageants in California forever after this. But what I love about it is she's having a great time, and then her family, I think at first is like, oh no, but then they're like, you know what? We're going to get on stage too. And the whole family ends up dancing with her. And it's so like supportive and beautiful and just also very hilarious.
Right. So up to the point in this movie, like each of these characters, the main characters, are working through a major crisis in their life. So the dad is going through some bankruptcy issues with his business. The mom is thinking about getting a divorce. The brother found out that his lifelong dream of being a pilot can't happen. As Susan said earlier, the uncle, played by Steve Carell, is suicidal, and the grandfather actually dies of a drug overdose on the way to the pageant. It was a wild cast of characters, all dealing with very serious issues. But at the end, it's such a wonderful scene because they all sort of let their personal stuff go to help support Olive.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice way to wrap up the movie. And then they all jump back in the van and head home. This movie is very funny. It is also very sad. There are a lot of really deep, issues that they addressed. And so knowing that, it's not just like a comedy through and through. It's really a tragedy as well. But it's very, very well done.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any favorite moments from the movie that really stand out?
Well, I love when she's on stage and they ask her, who prepared you for this? And she's like, oh, my grandpa. And they're like, oh, where is he? In the trunk of our car.
Right. Because they still had the well.
That was such a good line. And then they're just like, all right, here we go.
Yeah, because he had died on the way there, and they didn't have time to deal with his body before they had to get her to the show.
And then I also love the scene where they're on the pier, Frank and Dwayne, and Frank is just trying to he sees that this kid has his whole life ahead of him, and they're kind of just chatting, but then Dwayne just has the realization that even though he won't be able to pilot, he's like, well, maybe I can. He's like, and the line is just like, do what you want, fuck the rest, or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a really powerful line. And I remember because we rewatched the movie this week, but I saw it when it first came out. And I remember that moment when he realizes he's colorblind. I remember how, heartbroken I felt for him when he realized it, because you could just see on his face, what do you mean there's a letter in there? And it was it was really sad. But then that scene on the pier when he's like, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to figure out how to do it anyway. Yeah. It was just a really good turn for that character to be like, I'm not giving up on this. It's what I want to do. And you shouldn't give up on your stuff either. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so good. And the acting is wonderful in the film. It's clear why. Abigail Breslin was also nominated for an Academy Award. She is just the cutest little girl. And then everybody else, like Steve Carell, obviously a very famous comedian from The Office and many other movies, in a very serious role. But also Alan Arkin and Toni Collette, Greg Kinnear, even Paul Dano as the brother. They all really do a nice job in each of their such good character work. It's really, really
it was cast
believable,
really well.
100% believable.
I love how they actually used real pageant girls and stuff like that, and told them to just do their thing.
Is that right?
Yeah, there was either a commentary or something. I feel like the movie had a commentary where I heard that, and then I also learned. I read that they had there was another scene that they took out where they were at the beach, Dwayne and Frank were out on surfboards, trying to have their conversation out on the water, but
it didn't really work very well.
so exhausting, so I just moved it to the pier.
That's funny.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, it does give you kind of a picture into that pageant world. And yeah.
My sister did beauty pageants and stuff like that, and I joke about it.
Really?
My mom never asked me if I wanted to.
That's all right. You're getting her back. You're a comedian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting your stage time. But I also love the reactions of Frank and Dwayne to seeing all the pageant stuff, like the routines and the girls walking around, and they're just like, what is this? Where are we right now?
Right.
And do we want all of doing this?
No, it is weird. It is just weird.
Yeah, that world is something else.
And the movie does a good job of each of the characters sort of realizing it and be like, Olive, do you really want to do this? But it's cool that they let her make the decision. Mm-hmm. And then they supported her, and then they got out of there as fast as they could. And we have to talk about the VW bus, because it itself is like a character in this movie. They're all stuck inside of it, and the clutch goes out quickly into their trip. So in order to start the car, they all have to push it and jump in as it's moving. And at first, they're all kind of begrudging about it, and it's a huge thing. But at the end, it's very freeing, and it's very nice to see them each like let go of their problems and sort of just head home as a family, which is very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the symbolism is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely recommend this movie if you haven't seen it. We got it on Amazon Prime, I think.
Yeah, we rented it on Prime. But it's definitely worth your time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have one more thing too.
Yeah.
I worked with Abigail Breslin.
Cool.
Really?
Scream.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and she was so sweet, so nice, just such a cool person. And she talked about how she had to wear a fat suit when she was
Little Miss Sunshine.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's funny.
Were you in any scenes with her, or just on the same set?
Yeah, we had scenes together, and
cool.
We got to work together. Yeah, she was just so nice, and really cool. I think she's so much younger than me, because it was weird that she was 21 or yeah. It was I was 27, I guess, at the time, but yeah, it's weird seeing her in real life. Being because I will always just kind of picture you as a little.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, because I think, I assume she looks similar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but older.
And
obviously.
she's been in other movies since. She was in the Zombieland movies.
Yeah.
And other things.
Well, that's awesome. You got to work with her.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Very cool. Well, Andy, we would love to finish up today, our show today, with a game that we're calling Laugh or Cry.
Okay.
Here's the deal. I've given each of you a list of movies featuring famous comedians in serious roles. You will take turns describing the film and actors to each other as quickly as you can, but you cannot use the title of the film. You will have 2 minutes to get your partner to guess as many as possible. If you get 7 right, Andy will win our prize. We don't know what the prize is.
Yes, we're working on them, but when we figure it out, we will mail it to you.
It's going to be something laying around our house.
No.
Awesome.
All right, Andy, you get to give clues first. Are you ready?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
On your mark, get set, go.
Okay. Leonardo DiCaprio is a businessman. And
Wolf of Wall Street?
Yes.
Okay.
1 point.
All right. This takes place in Boston. This guy's a math genius, but nobody knows it because he works as a janitor.
Gosh.
He ends up meeting Robin Williams as his therapist.
Good Will Hunting.
Yes.
2 points. Keep going.
Jim Carrey is trapped in a
thing.
And it's a policy.
Yes.
Okay.
3 points.
All right. This is a movie about a gigantic ape.
Oh my gosh. Godzilla.
No, he fights Godzilla.
King Kong.
Yes. 4 points.
This is Adam Sandler's. Wait, Will Smith or Adam? It's either Will Smith or it's Will Smith.
Okay.
It's a serious role. He's really sad and he's trying to not be sad anymore.
The Pursuit of Happiness?
Yes.
Okay.
5 points.
All right. This movie came out recently. It stars a female superhero, and it takes
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, but it's the sequel.
1984.
Yes.
Yes. 1 minute.
Sandra Bullock is in space and she's floating around.
Oh, what is this movie
And
called?
she's very lightweight because there's
Gravity.
yeah.
All right, that's 7 points, but keep going.
All right. This one stars Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's trying to find like the Christmas toy.
Jingle all the way.
Yes.
Yes.
This is a musician who's blind playing piano, played by
30 seconds.
Ray.
yes.
Okay. This is another Adam Sandler movie. I actually haven't seen this yet. I think it's a serious one. It came out pretty.
Love?
No, later. It came out within the last like year, I think, year or two. It's serious.
The gemstones.
Yes. So if your hair is really long, that
Short gem.
sorry, what?
Bob cut. Gem.
Oh, you
Bob cut gems.
Time.
Gems.
Yes.
I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give it to you.
Bob cut
I
gems.
haven't seen it yet.
It is so good.
I know. I've heard that. I need to just watch it.
Good job,
Yeah.
Andy. You won our prize. Good job,
Yes.
Susan, helping her out.
Excellent. Woo.
I can't believe how good we did.
Yeah, we got a lot.
You guys did great.
I mean, we were almost done by a minute.
Yep.
Yeah, I also had The Big Short
Okay.
and Lost in Translation. Those were the two we didn't get.
Okay. The Drive.
Yes, Drive.
I don't know. I was like, is it Ryan Reynolds? No, it's
Is that
not.
Ryan Gosling?
Ryan
Who's
Gosling.
the comedian in that one?
Albert Brooks plays the bad guy.
Albert Brooks plays a bad guy so often, though. I forget.
But he started out as a comedian.
I know, but
That was really fun.
yeah, that was fun.
Well, Andy, before we let you go, would you like to plug anything?
So here's my plug.
Okay.
I'm going to start a podcast, so I don't have it now.
Uh-huh.
If people could just keep an eye out
Cool,
for
yes.
my podcast and then listen to it and watch it.
What's it called?
I'm thinking of calling it Squirrel Cats
Okay.
or Squirrel Cast
Oh, okay.
or Squirrel Podcast.
Okay. What's the premise? If it's a secret still, that's okay. If you want to wait. But.
I just watch squirrels.
Oh, that's awesome.
Great.
And I just narrate it. I just narrate what the squirrels are doing.
That's perfect. I would listen to that.
Everyone will.
Yes,
if they
everyone will.
Perfect. Well, if any of you out there have a movie you would like us to watch, a suggestion for us, shoot us an email at talkietalkmovies@gmail.com. Great, and that's going to wrap it up for us today. Andy Erikson, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Make sure you check out Andy on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter so you can follow along and find out when her podcast comes out.
Thanks,
All
you
right.
guys.
Thank you. Thanks for listening, everybody.